October 18th, 1958, the first video game was created. This game is called Tennis for Two, and it was created by William Higginbotham. However, he did not expect video games to become one of the biggest industries in entertainment. Video games grew drastically after Tennis for Two. Pong was created shortly after. Then Super Mario Bros., Wolfenstein, Doom, Half-Life, and CS. These are examples of many video games created around the 80s and 90s, but now it's the 2000s. Nearly everyone has played a video game, including me. The first game I played was StarCraft, and I enjoyed it a lot. Then I started playing other games too and thought to myself, how do video games even work? Video games are made by an engine and a code language. You use an engine to execute the code you have written, but that code must be in a compatible language for the engine to understand it. Some examples of engines are Unity, Unreal Engine, and Source. And some language examples are Java, Python, and C++. In the beginning of my journey, I will be using Roblox as my engine and Lua as the code language. Roblox provides avatars, servers, currencies, tutorials, and a whole lot more. Lua is also known to be the easiest coding language to learn. Now that you know the background, let's start the journey. The first thing I did was watch a lot of YouTube tutorials. None of them clicked with me until I found a YouTuber called BrawlDev that has created a series where he teaches about scripting in Roblox. Every video I watched from him, I made sure I understood everything he was saying, but because he explained it so well to me, I didn't even need to rewatch most of his videos. This doesn't mean he is the holy grail of scripting tutorials. Some developers in Roblox had an easy time going through dev form or watching other YouTubers, but BrawlDev's tutorial series is going to help me the most. After making sure I understood every video, doing every challenge he recommended, and exceeding the requirements from the challenges, I believed it was time to make my first game. The first game I made was New Copy, testing my skills, making sure I could script without any major assistance, and getting used to the Roblox studio mechanisms. The game is, as the name implies, an obby with a nuke. After getting the hang of using Roblox Studio, I started practicing and putting things I learned to the test. I plan to do a bunch of small projects to improve my scripting skills. One thing I kept in mind is to make sure the script is readable, uses modern code, and everything in the world of the game is perfectly organized in folders. The second project I worked on is Speeding Wall Obby, inspired by the game Get Crushed by a Speeding Wall. I utilized something I recently learned during the time, tween service, which makes objects move smoothly. Because it's something new to me, I made sure the game evolved around it, making me get much better at using tweens. Only after a couple hours, I finished the game, and this has motivated me to make even more games. The next game I worked on was the Tower Obby. This was to primarily focus on my organization skills and making my scripts much neater. Later, I felt like learning how to save data on Roblox, and it was one of the first things I've struggled on. You can't just rely on one source for all your information. So I did more research and figured out how to save data, and decided to implement it to my Speeding Wall game. Now I was getting tired of hobbies and wanted to make a new type of game. I decided it was best if I learned how to make round-based games, but because Brawl definitely has tutorials on how to script, and not how to make and format games, I had to get a little bit creative. I decided to go on an old video that I had watched previously, which is the Mad Bloxer under the Roblox channel. I used this video because I realized it uses a round-based system. When I first watched this video, I had absolutely zero clue what's going on. However, this time, I understood every single line of code that he has written. The only issue is that I don't know how he formats them. The scripts in the tutorial is basic, but the way how he lays them out is pretty tough. But I watched through the tutorial and started my 4th project, a game where there is one slasher and everyone else has to hide. Unfortunately, after spending hours making this game, it didn't finish how I'd like it and it succumbed to the bugs. It's impossible to be perfect, but failing something can be severely draining. This has led me to take a couple days off, as scripting and trying to learn how to script in a bad mood is just a waste of time. You will not learn anything if you don't like the conditions. Because of my lack of knowledge on how to properly format the scripts, I got lost on what certain lines did and how to fix certain bugs. This time, I learned my lesson from before. When I was watching the tutorial again, I made sure that I understood what every single line of code did, so that I didn't put anything wrong. Or if I did do something wrong, I could swiftly fix it. After 2 days, I finally created my first non-obby game. This game is an FFA sword fighting game with a loop, saved wins, and a map pool. After 10 days when I began this journey, I believed it was time to give myself a test. I'm going to make a game with a map pool, random disasters, free-for-all, a shop with wins and a point system. I began making a big lobby that wraps around the arena. This is where I'm going to be taking my time building and making sure the game looked good. And after 2 hours, I finished the building process and started to script. But then, I made a fatal flaw. I didn't save the game, and when I got a pop-up on closing the studio without saving, I accidentally pressed don't save. I lost 2 hours of progress in one click. I couldn't believe what I'd just done, but I just kept working on the game, making a new lobby and a new map. It was very demotivating after witnessing 2 hours of my work disappear. I just did the bare bones of the game and took a break once more. 2 days later, I returned, more energetic, to finish this game. I double-checked to see if the game was being saved. I made sure all the code was readable and organized, and that I put 100% of my effort into this game. The only help I've used is using my previous scripts to understand how I should format the game, as it's still new to me. In just a day, I managed to make a game loop work. Now here comes the main challenge. Adding disasters in a shop. GUI scripting is one of my weaknesses, but fortunately, I already know how to make a shop, as one of Brawl Dev's challenges is to make a shop, so using my memory, I managed to make that. The disasters, however, is something I can't get help for, so what I did was make a table in the RNG selector that selects objects in a folder called Disaster Pool. And after it picks ones out, just like the map loader, it also brings the disaster from the folder and then clones it, puts it to the workspace right after. Then after debugging it, it finally worked. I viewed this as a huge milestone, as I did something that no tutorial has told me before. Because of this achievement, I knew I was on the right path. After finalizing everything and some polishing, I published the game and tested it with a friend. I'm concluding this video on my 12th day, as this is my first YouTube video and there is so much things I am learning that isn't just scripting. Some examples are recording this video and editing. But I am going to continue on this journey and hopefully document on making a game that many of you will be impressed at. It is a long road, and I am willing to put the work into it. If there's any questions or advice, you can comment down below, help me a lot. And one final note, I won't be doing just coding on this channel, I'll be doing other hobbies as well.